Welcome all to another episode of your favorite podcast. Yeah,
What's
this
so
is going to be
funny?
fun. This is going to be fun. To make sure my hat's on straight. Seems to keep being crooked. Anyways, Targo, what you drinking?
I'm drinking a Titan Cider Works raspberry cider. Wife wanted one, but she didn't want to drink the whole thing because they are in gigantic bottles. So here I am.
Now, is
But I
it
gotta say,
Titan?
It is my favorite.
Is it Titan or is it Teton?
Titan.
There's an E in there, buddy.
Yeah, so does the word tie, like a dress
TIE fighter?
or a TIE fighter. Yeah, there you go.
Let's be real here.
Speak of the TIE fighter.
I know.
Wear my Star Wars shirt.
Star. Sorry, we're getting off track. I am drinking Lake Beer Pilsner from Lumberbeard. This one, it's been so cold in Spokane and just gloomy. I just want it to be sunny already, so I'm going to drink my feelings in a beer that makes me wish it was sunny outside. So,
I'll cheers to that, man.
cheers to that. All right. Those are our brews. Let's get to some banter. Welcome to Brews and Banter. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media sites, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Check out our Facebook group. Join the discussion. Let us know what you feel about some of our opinions because they may or may not be right or wrong. Let us know. Check out our YouTube channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. Check out our podcast on every major podcast, app, channel, platform, whatever the kids do these days. And then check out our Redbubble because we have some pretty awesome merch on there. And it also contributes to helping us continue doing this.
Which we
because
love.
we love it and we want to see that you guys enjoy it. So support us. All right. Today, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics because not everybody can win a Ballon D'Or. So these are the best players to never win one. Now, a little bit of history for those of you who don't know what the Ballon d'Or is. The French Football Federation, FFF, puts out a trophy every year which solidifies as the best player in the world. It's highly controversial because it's the French Football Federation, not FIFA. And until 1995, it was only documented Europeans, which is weird.
Yeah, and then FIFA and UEFA also have their own best player. And
yeah.
Those don't mean anything. Only the Ballon d'Or.
Leave it to the French. That's all I got to say. Okay. Targo, we got a list of players. I know our top 5 are the exact same. So let's talk about them first before we start going back and forth about better players.
All right.
So we got the obvious, right? 1995, both of these players had already been finished playing. It's a whole hoopla. Pele, rest in peace, was never eligible. It's a shame. He got a commemorative one in 95, but I mean, the man was named by Brazil as a Brazilian treasure. So he was never allowed to leave. So he only ever played in Brazil and never won a Ballon d'Or. It's been said he could have won 7.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah.
He's got 3 World Cups.
He does. And still to date, in my opinion, he's the very first superstar there ever was.
Definitely probably the biggest soccer playing name anyone knows. Like you can go up to someone on the street and you can say, "Hey, do you know who Pele is?" And they'll know.
Oh yeah. I mean, pretty much there's 4 names that anybody you would walk up to nowadays would know who it is. I mean, you got Pele, Maradona, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. Speaking of the next one, who's got a pretty badass middle name, like someone else I know. Diego Armando Maradona. God, was he fun to watch.
He was so good, man. He was so fun to watch. You're not wrong. I mean, just his passing, his dribbling, his first touch. I mean, the videos on YouTube are endless. I remember his warm-ups where he would just kick the ball, 20, 30 feet in the air and just juggle it. That's how he juggled it.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I dare you want to go try that. It's not easy. He makes it look easy, but it's not. So, yeah, he was just amazing. Took Napoli to their first title in the Serie A. He has his own World Cup. I mean, he's famous for other reasons as well. For his off-the-field antics.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got arguably one of the greatest goals ever scored against England.
And also arguably one of the most controversial goals ever scored.
The Hand of God.
Yeah, French Football Federation came out and said he should have won 2 Ballon d'Ors. Granted, unlike Pele, he was up against a lot more solid competition that are still to date considered all-time greats.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next up, we got Ferenc Puskás. I mean, the man has an award named after him for the best goal of the year, but yet he never won a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Came in second, 1960.
Mm-hmm.
So he was close. He has an Olympic gold. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He took his team to a World Cup final. He's the 7th top goal scorer of all time. And he's got 3 European Cups in a row, along with 5 La Liga championship trophies. So definitely decorated player.
He's considered a legend for Real Madrid and Hungary. I don't know how he never won. And he's a European.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
That one's crazy.
Speaking of Europeans, Paolo Maldini, arguably the best defenseman in the history of the world.
That
came in second in 94, second in 95 for the FIFA Player of the Year. He's got 7 Serie A titles, 5 European Cups. I mean, he's got the same amount of European Cups as Bayern Munich, Liverpool, and more than Barcelona and Manchester United.
Yeah, man, he's definitely a legend. I mean, he actually held the record for the most appearances until 2020 when Gigi Buffon beat him. He had 647 appearances as an outfield player.
It's insane.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And he retired at 41 and winning a total of 26 trophies.
Yeah. How he never won a Ballon d'Or? I mean, it goes the age-old saying, and I hate it. Defenders and goalies don't get the credit that they deserve. They really don't. They don't play the flashy football that people love to watch, so they don't get recognized as much.
And he played left back and center back.
Yeah. He started for AC Milan at the ripe age of 16 until he left them ultimately in his, mid-late 30s?
Yeah.
What a playing career. All right. Lastly, in our top 5 is both of our favorite player. This guy right here. Thierry Henry. Probably in the most controversial Ballon d'Or selection I've ever witnessed. He came in second in 2003 to a guy who had no business winning.
Yeah, Nedved, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he was more robbed in the 2006 one, but yeah,
both of them. I mean,
he definitely was an electrifying player during the early 2000s. Set the Premier League on fire. He was always the top goal scorer. taking Arsenal to Premiership titles, FA Cups,
2006
has a World Cup.
Champions League final.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how he didn't win one. He got robbed in 2.
So yeah, man, he was incredible. I mean, he was named the Footballer Writers Association Player of the Year a record 3 times. He's got 228 goals in all competitions for Arsenal, their top goal scorer. He's won the Golden Boot in England a record 4 times. He's been named the French Player of the Year a record 5 times. He won the treble with Barca. He has a World Cup in '98 and a Euro in 2000. Was France's record goal scorer until this last World Cup when Olivier Giroud beat him. But yeah, that 2006 one, man, that one hurts me. Got to a World Cup final, got to a Champions League final, and loses out to Cannavaro and Buffon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, it's 2003 where he got robbed the most. Nedved played for Juventus. They won the same amount of trophies. Henry had one of the greatest years in the history of football. It's just... And he's French. That's what doesn't make sense to me. It's the French Football Federation's trophy that they hand out, and they didn't give it to a French guy.
And he holds the record for French Player of the Year.
Yeah. And until this year, the record goal scorer or last year, technically, I guess, record goal scorer for France.
Yeah.
And probably one of the most electrifying players to ever grace the pitch. Silky smooth.
Yeah.
And arguably the best facial expressions in all of football. So,
guy definitely made some great memes, that's for sure.
OTT. All right. Now let's get into the fun part. We both have, 13 or 14 each? We've done 5. We have 13 each. But none of the rest are the same. So let's go back and forth. Let's name some all-time greats. Let's have some fun with this.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'm going in no particular order, by the way.
That's fine.
But I'll start with another defender I feel like was one of the greatest of all time, especially at his position, and that was Philipp Lahm.
Yeah.
Defender for Bayern Munich. He was a fullback. He won a treble with Bayern Munich, whom he captained, and he also captained the 2014 Germany team that won the World Cup. I mean, the guy was Mr. Consistent. I forget how many games he went without a yellow card or committing a foul. I forget, some crazy stat like that.
If I'm not mistaken, it was an entire season.
Yeah, without committing a foul or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Definitely not getting a card. I know that.
And so, I mean, the guy was just... And he was very professional, too, the way he carried himself, which is why he was captain of Bayern Munich and the German national team. And yeah, fantastic defender.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's arguably one of the best outside backs in the history of world football. I
would definitely say top 5, for sure. Top 5 right backs.
He's fantastic.
And he also played in the midfield. Versatile player.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of mine.
I'm gonna go with. Let's see, where do I start? I'll go with an Italian. We'll go defense as well. Franco Baresi. This guy, I mean, he played before, most of his career before either one of us were born. But he was an AC Milan and Italy defensive legend, backbone of one of the great European teams in AC Milan. He only ever played for them. He kind of got robbed by his teammates. Came in second in 1989 to his teammate, Marco van Basten. Captained Milan to the first of his 3 European Cups that season. He also won the 6 Serie A titles in the 82 World Cup. But it was because of Van Basten that he never won a Ballon D'Or. So
yeah, honestly, he's one that I saw on your list, so I left him off mine. Because, he has to get a mention.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest defenders of all time. But that's just what you get with the amount of skill and the amount of great players to come out of Europe. Who you got?
Who do I got? All right. I'm going to go with another midfielder. Fantastic midfielder. I would say single-handedly won his country a World Cup in overtime. That is Andres Iniesta. Man, was he a fantastic midfielder for Barcelona. He came in second in 2010 behind Messi. And then he came in third in 2012 behind Messi and Ronaldo. But man, he won 2 trebles with Barca in 2009, 2015. He's got a total of 35 trophies, including 9 La Liga titles and 4 Champions League trophies. And like I said, man, he scored that winning goal in the 2010 World Cup. He won the Euros in 2012 with Spain. And get this, he was man of the match in both of those finals. And was also player of the tournament in 2012. So it's just, he did amazing things with both Spain and Barcelona. And honestly, if it wasn't for Messi or Ronaldo, probably would have a Ballon D'Or.
Oh, yeah, 100%. If Pele Maradona, I guess Pele Maradona never won, but if Messi and Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, if they weren't considered, this list changes dramatically.
Yeah.
But they've dominated the last 15 years, so it's good to see other people starting to come out and top them for these trophies. But
it is, yeah.
I think this year might be Messi's again. Unfortunately,
that World Cup, man. Yeah.
All right, for me, I'm just because you keep saying the position, I'm just going to match positions.
Okay.
Why not? I'm going to go with Frank Rijkaard. Missed out because of teammates. Again.
He really did.
I mean,
if he didn't have those teammates, man, I think he would have got one.
Yeah. He was runner-up 3 times to Van Basten, Ruud Gullit, and 87, 88, and 89. Top 3. Crazy. So good. I don't understand how he didn't win one, but again, it's because of his Dutch teammates.
He had a good coaching career too with Barcelona.
He did. But man, was he fun to watch. So
yeah, he was a great player for sure. So moving on to another midfielder. This midfielder, I would say he's not flashy like some of these players, but anyone who knows the game of football knows that this man was a genius, and that is Andrea Pirlo. Man, was he good. He didn't have the best stats, but like I said, if you understand football, you know how good he was. Definitely renowned for his vision, technique, creativity, passing, his free kicks. He finished in the top 10 for voting 3 times in his career. He's got 6 Serie A's, 2 Champions Leagues, and in 2006, he won the World Cup. But man, could this guy dictate and control a game. He just knew how to make the flow of the game go through him, and he could play it at whatever pace he wanted. It was his toy to play with, and he played with it how he wanted.
Yeah,
fantastic player.
He's the quintessential definition of the world is your oyster, isn't he?
Yeah. He just was amazing, man. I loved watching him play.
He might be the silkiest and smoothest player I've ever watched.
And he
entire
played
life.
until he was ancient too, and he was still just top quality. Kind of reminds me of Modric. Kind of reminds me of him a little bit.
A little bit, especially with the hair.
But then,
and
he was just calm always. Like, he never looked like he was in a hurry or flustered on the field. Just always cool, calm, collected. Pick out a ball. Yeah.
Dinking passes left, right, center.
But yeah, Andrea Pirlo, man, I loved watching him play.
So fun to watch. Oh, man. All right. I'm going to go with a Liverpool legend. Was a legend as a coach, legend as a player. Kenny Dalglish.
Can't believe he didn't win one, man.
I don't either. Granted, his playing career was well before we were born. Most of it, at least. He was runner-up in 83, only to succumb to Michel Platini's 3 successive Ballon d'Ors. And that's the closest he ever got.
Yeah,
he
it's a tough
won
guy to beat.
6 league titles, 3 European Cups, and is considered one of the greatest players to ever come out of Great Britain. So good. And not to mention, probably the best Liverpool jerseys of all time. I love those jerseys.
He was a fantastic player, for sure.
Fantastic player. I love watching his highlight reels. I can't say I loved watching him play because I never saw it. But man, was he a good coach as well. It's ruthless. So, yeah. Kenny Dalglish. What a man.
Yeah. All right, well, my next one, striker from the Premier League. He is the record goal scorer in the Premier League with 260 goals, and that is Mr. Alan Shearer. He did come in third in 1996. Some of his other accolades, he's won the Premier League with Blackburn, was the Golden Boot winner 3 years straight. He has an FA Cup with Newcastle, and was the first of 2 players inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. Man, could this guy find the back of the net.
With who was the other one in the Premier League Hall of Fame?
Oh, that I don't know. Was it Henry?
Yeah, it was TT. Go figure.
Yeah. But yeah, man, he could score a goal, and it wasn't just tap-ins, you know. He was scoring bangers from outside the box. Some beautiful volleys, some just dribbling solo goals. He was fun. He definitely had a couple injury-plagued seasons, but obviously that didn't stop him. Definitely think he could have gone to a big club, but did fantastic things with Newcastle and Blackburn. But yeah, man, Alan Shearer. I mean, how do you not win a Ballon d'Or when you're the record goal scorer in the Premier League?
I don't know. It's baffling to me. I mean, I always have a special place in my heart for those players that stick with the teams that they're loyal to.
Yeah.
Especially, teams like Newcastle and Blackburn. Like, props to him, and he took those teams single-handedly to new heights.
He did. Those goals he scored, yeah.
So, when you have a player that elevates teams that highly for that long, there's no reason why he shouldn't win a Ballon d'Or. I don't know. I feel like players that play on teams like that don't ever get the recognition that they should. And Alan Shearer,
considered.
He's considered one of the best players of all time.
Yeah, he's considered one of the best strikers in the Premier League.
Not just the Premier League, but the world.
But yeah, the closest he came was in third.
Yeah, it's a travesty. Makes no sense to me. All right, speaking of strikers in the Premier League, I'm going to go with Luis Suarez. The Uruguayan. Luis Suarez. I mean, he should have won the Ballon d'Or in the 2013-2014 season because of what he did for Liverpool, which is why ultimately that he got his move to Barcelona, but he was so good. But he had to play second fiddle to Messi.
That's pretty much what it comes down to, yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Kind of similar
Not
to
just
Iniesta.
at Liverpool, but at Barcelona. I mean, he is considered one of the best strikers Barcelona has ever had, and yet he still has less goals than Messi for Barcelona. I feel bad for him. He's a part of probably and arguably one of the greatest front three strike forces that has ever graced the earth in MSN. Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. They were unstoppable.
They were, man. He was such a good player. I remember watching him for Liverpool. He scored some worldies for Liverpool, too.
Oh, yes.
Wasn't tap-ins. He was volleys.
No. I mean,
dribbling around players.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I can think of any tap-ins that he had. Unless it was he dribbled around a goalie and then tapped it in. Like, that's how good he was. Like, he just scored from everywhere. It was amazing.
I think he left Liverpool after the bite. I think that's what caused it, because he got suspended for quite a while. Yeah.
I was going to say he will forever be known for his off-the-field antics, or on-the-field antics.
They were on the field.
Off-the-ball antics is what I meant.
Guy's the cannibal.
Yeah. He liked to bite players, and he had to overbite to match it. Still, though, he's got all of my respect, and I think that he should have at least won one, and it's a travesty that he didn't.
Yeah.
But that's what you get when you're going up against arguably the greatest player of all time.
The kind of cherry on the cake, too, is when Barcelona sold him to Atletico, and then he goes and wins the title with Atletico.
Yeah.
Being an integral part of that team.
Yeah. So, who you got next?
Another Barcelona striker. The Cameroonian, Samuel Eto'o.
Yes.
So, yeah, he also played for Barca. He came in third in 2005. But, man, he won back-to-back Champions Leagues with two separate clubs. With Barcelona, leaves Barca, goes to Inter Milan, wins the Champions League with that Inter Milan team, who also won the treble that year.
Yeah. The Jose Mourinho.
Jose Mourinho.
Inter. Yep.
Yeah. But he's also scored in two Champions League finals. He's won the African Player of the Year a record 4 times. But yeah, he had back-to-back trebles. So he had a treble with Barca, and then goes and gets another treble with Inter Milan. Yeah. That's wild, man. That is wild. He's also Cameroon's all-time top goal scorer and all-time top goal scorer in the Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
The guy
was considered by most to be the greatest player to ever come out of Africa.
I would say he is.
Yeah.
I mean
George Weah,
Yaya Toure.
I understand he's the only African to ever win a Ballon d'Or. But I think you're onto something. Between him and Didier Drogba, I think Eto'o probably sneaks past Drogba, but those two, oh my God. There's not much separating them, and they're amazing footballers.
I just remember him and Ronaldinho at Barcelona, man. They were just, what a duo.
And Messi, a little baby
young Messi. Yep, young Messi.
A little long-haired baby Messi.
Not even wearing the number 10. I think he was wearing number 17.
Was it? Or 30? Might have been 30.
Might have been 30, you're right. I think you're right, it was 30.
Yeah.
Good job.
Him on his growth hormones. That's how many shots he was getting a day. It was
30. But yeah, Samuel Eto'o, man, what a goal scorer. I will say a little bit of downfall when he came to the Premier League, played for Chelsea, but like I said, back-to-back trebles, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
With 2 different clubs.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has ever done that.
It's wild.
I haven't done my research to look it up, but I can't imagine that there's more than one.
It's not a big list, that's for sure.
No, it's very short.
So yeah, Samuel Eto'o.
Okay. I'm going to go a little biased. But the bias is not for when he played for Arsenal. I'm going to go Dennis
Dutch maestro.
Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp, the maestro. He came in the Ballon d'Or running before Arsenal signed him. So it's nothing to do with his Arsenal days. Came in third in 92, second in 93. He was set to win the Ballon d'Or in 94. And then the Netherlands exited the World Cup in the quarterfinals in the USA by Brazil. And then a Brazilian won the Ballon d'Or.
Ronaldo.
So, yeah. I feel bad for him because right after that he moved to Arsenal, won 3 Premier Leagues, 4 FA Cups. But man, I don't know if I've ever seen a player besides Maradona with a silkier touch on the ball.
You literally took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, he has one of the best first touches I've ever seen.
Yes. Besides Maradona, I would rank him second. With
just
best
some
touches
balls that
I've ever seen.
Ping to him, and he just plucks it right out of the air, man, and it doesn't move. It stays right there on his foot.
And he still, to date, has the most played goal for a Premier League team. And I believe that was against Newcastle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also had one of the weirdest clauses.
Please do.
He also had one of the weirdest.
Pure magic.
It is great. Go check it out.
If you watch his Arsenal 100 video, you get his whole story behind it, and he didn't even know what he was doing. So,
but he also had one of the weirdest clauses in his contract, man.
Yes, he did.
He wouldn't fly in an airplane. That was in his contract with Arsenal. So in Champions League games that were away, Dennis Bergkamp wasn't there because he wouldn't fly in an airplane.
Nope. Which was Arsenal's downfall. Also.
That's why he didn't win the trophy,
Probably.
the Ballon.
Yeah. I was surprised that he made it to the United States for the World Cup, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which might have been why they exited at the quarterfinal stage, because
that would have been a long drive from
or a boat ride.
Or a boat,
that's even more nerve-wracking than an airplane. Just saying.
Crossing the Atlantic.
Yeah. Or the Pacific. Either one. Whatever way he decided to go.
From Europe.
Probably. But all depended on where the group games were, and I don't remember off the top of my head. So, okay.
All right. Moving on down. I'm going a little bit older school again with a couple Brazilians. One of them's Romario.
Okay.
He did win the FIFA Player of the Year before the awards were combined in 95. But man, he scored over 500 goals. He claims to have scored over 1,000, of course. Those older players do. But he won the 1994 World Cup with Brazil. He was player of the tournament. And then in 5 seasons with PSV, he won the league 3 times, scoring, check this out, 165 goals in 167 games.
That's insane.
He's also the fourth.
I knew he was good, but what the hell?
Yeah, incredible, right? And he's also the 4th highest goal scorer for Brazil, which those are some excellent players.
Yeah.
And he is now a politician in Brazil.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Good for him.
But yeah,
I love watching him play. So
yeah, his highlights are fun.
I watched him in the 94 World Cup, and he was one of my favorite players to watch. It was amazing. He was the star of the show. If it wasn't for a Roberto Baggio penalty kick, the story might have been different. But yeah, he was amazing.
And I think in 94,
that probably aren't even on either one of our lists. Roberto Baggio.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I think if it's combined in 94, he might have won that one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he was not European, and it didn't start till 95. So, all right. Let's see, where should I go from here? I'm going to go to the opposite end of the park. because I love my goalies. I'm going to go with one of your favorites, Oliver Kahn, the Neanderthal himself. God,
yeah, he is one of my favorite goalies.
He was so good.
The antics, too, man, to go with it.
Yes. So, for a little history lesson for a lot of people, only one goalie has ever won the Ballon d'Or. It was Lev Yashkin in 1963. Oliver Kahn finished third in the Ballon d'Or voting in both 2001 and 2002. Both years he won the Champions League, runner-up in the World Cup in 2002. He got third in 2001. But he's the only goalie since 1976, and Ivo Victor from Czechoslovakia, to be voted into the top 3, let alone 3 times. Oliver Kahn was a beast. He was an animal, and probably the greatest shot stopper I've ever seen in my entire life.
He was so fun, man. I love
He was so
Oliver Kahn.
So fun. He was crazy. Just watching him. I mean, I don't even have to watch him for Bayern Munich. Just watch him. Just go watch 2002 World Cup highlights.
Yeah.
Watch Oliver Kahn's antics. Oh my goodness.
He's one of the reasons Germany made it to that final.
I would almost go he was the reason. Holy crap. He was so good. But I digress. Oliver Kahn, arguably the best goalie to not win Ballon d'Or. I have another one, but I'm sure most of you can guess who it is. But we'll wait for that.
Wait for that one?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll go with my next one then. As I mentioned, Brazilian. That is Garrincha. However you pronounce it.
Yeah, I think you got it right.
Something like that, yeah. His real name's
like a long name. At least you got
name.
it right in American.
Yeah. In English?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a fantastic player, man. He won the World Cup in 58 and 62. You know, in 62, Pele got injured, and Garrincha was the man. He became the first player ever to win the Golden Ball, Golden Boot, and the World Cup. And fun fact, Brazil never lost a game while playing Pele and Garrincha at the same time.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It really does.
But he spent a lot of his career playing in Brazil. And he was also credited with inspiring the first Olés at football grounds. And he was just, you know, he was an entertainer, man, with his dribbling and his skills. Fun to watch. But like I said, Golden Boot, Golden Ball, and won the World Cup.
Yeah. I mean,
when Pele goes out injured.
I mean, in any other World Cup after that, that person wins the Ballon d'Or every year.
Yeah.
Like, it happens.
That's going to be Messi pretty much this year, probably.
Yeah, 100%. So, not to mention the French love Lionel Messi. So,
But he didn't even have the Golden Boot.
Speaking of players the French probably hate, Sir Bobby Moore, 1966 World Cup winning captain. Y'all might know him because of the famous 1966 England photo. He's the guy holding the World Cup. He was never even recognized with the Ballon d'Or during his career. But, I mean, I guess the closest he ever came was second in 1970. But before that, he wasn't even on the voting ballot.
That's wild.
Doesn't make sense.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He's one of the best center backs that has ever graced an England jersey. And I don't understand. In that day and age, after winning a World Cup and being the star, besides maybe a George Best, why he never won a Ballon d'Or. It doesn't make any sense. So,
Yeah.
I would tell you about highlight reels, but he's a defender in 1966 when there's not very much video. So
yeah, before I get to my last one, I'm going to do my honorable mentions.
let's do that.
So my honorable mentions, my first one is Wesley Sneijder.
Okay.
I believe you were a big fan of his, weren't you?
I was. Only for Inter Milan, though.
So yeah,
After
this
he
was in
left,
2010.
different story.
So in 2010, when he was playing with Inter Milan, he won the treble with Jose Mourinho, made it to the World Cup final. But man, on the road to that World Cup final, he had goals in the round of 16, semifinal, and an assist in the final on the way to winning the Champions League. So not the World Cup, sorry, the Champions League final. In the Champions League final.
What you're talking about. I don't think our listeners did.
He had a goal in the round of 16, semifinal, and then assist in the final. But he was named the UEFA Midfielder of the Season. And yeah, he scored 5 goals in that 2010 World Cup, scoring in the quarter and semifinal. And he just had a fantastic year, man. Again, winning a treble, making it to the World Cup final. If, again, a Messi or Ronaldo aren't around, I think he maybe gets a nod for it.
Yeah.
Tough with Andreas Iniesta. But, yeah. And then another honorable mention would go to Zico, the Brazilian, who
he's on mine as well.
Is dubbed the greatest Brazilian to never win the World Cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a playmaker with an eye for goal. And Pele actually said the closest player to come to him was Zico to being the best.
Which is funny because I forget how to pronounce it, but Garincha?
Yeah.
It's funny that he would say Zico, not Garincha.
I thought that too, yeah.
You know.
But then some other notable ones, obviously Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We know the career he's had. Been doing it for, at this point, decades. All over the world.
41 now?
Yeah. And then Didier Drogba, Eric Cantona, Franck Ribéry. I feel like Ribéry had a really good year when France made it to the final of that World Cup against Italy. I would say he's one of their most influential players in that World Cup, him and Zidane. But he did fantastic things with Bayern Munich. Cantona, great player for Manchester
Robin
United
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Robin. And then Drogba, another African player, did one of my favorite players to watch, honestly, for Chelsea.
I hated watching him, but I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, because whenever he played Arsenal, he was guaranteed a goal.
Other than Harry Kane, he's scored the most goals against Arsenal in the history of Arsenal.
But yeah, those are a couple of my honorable mentions, so I'll let you mention yours.
All right. One would argue, the easy route. I went old school South Americans.
Yeah, that's why I try to pick some newer players.
Yeah.
Ones that are still
I'm going to save everyone the stats. I'm going to save everyone hey, go look at his highlight reel. You can, but they're old, and I don't know if they have much of a highlight reel because I don't think video was invented for a lot of these guys. So, Socrates, great player. Most people don't know a lot about him, but he was in the, I want to say, late 60s to early 70s, mid 70s, all the way through 70s.
Honestly, I don't know a lot about him either.
I don't know a ton about him, but I do know that he's one of the best players of all time. And it was well before I was born. Carlos Alberto. Don't know much about him. Around the same time, if I'm not mistaken, Brazilian as well. I believe he played with Zico. I'm not sure. But the last guy I do know a lot about. And he's arguably one of the greatest players in Argentinian football, Mario Kempes. He was a phenom before Maradona, and he was amazing to watch. If you can find video of him, please go watch it because he was a stud. If I'm not mistaken, he won a World Cup with Argentina. I don't know off the top of my head, but should have done more research. Anyways, off to our last one. Go ahead, Targo.
So this last one, man, I feel like this guy had the biggest robbery for not winning the Ballon d'Or. Bigger than Thierry Henry.
Really?
This man should have won it in 2020, but it was canceled because of the pandemic. And that is Robert Lewandowski.
Okay. I agree. Not the most robbed, but I agree.
I would say the most robbed.
Yes. I agree he should have won it, yes.
I also think he should have won it in 2021, but he finished second to Messi. He won the FIFA and UEFA men's player.
I also think he should have won it over Benzema as well.
And then I didn't know this, man, but this guy, he's probably one of the best strikers ever.
Yep.
Ever. He has scored so many goals. So many. He has over 560 goals.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 10 Bundesliga titles, 2 with Dortmund and 8 with Bayern Munich. He won a title every year he was at Bayern Munich.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild. And then in the 2019...
I believe in active players, if I'm not mistaken, he's third behind Messi and Ronaldo.
No, not quite. I'll get to that.
Okay.
But in 2019 and 20, for that season, he won the treble, was the top scorer in all 3 competitions. So in the Bundesliga, Champions League, and the BFB Pokal. Only Johan Cruyff is the other to achieve that. He's the top goal scorer for Poland, obviously, in the country he comes from.
Clearly, yeah.
But yeah, he is third for most international goals in Europe and 9th overall. He's won the European Golden Shoe in 2020. In 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022 season. He's been the Polish Footballer of the Year, record 10 times. He's the 3rd highest goal scorer in the Champions League, behind Messi and Ronaldo. He's been Bundesliga Player of the Season, a record 5 times. He's second for most goals in the Bundesliga, with 312 goals, just behind Gerd Muller, which makes him the leading foreign goal scorer. But he's got 312 goals. And we talk about Alan Shearer being a legend. Alan Shearer's got 260.
52 goals behind Robert Lewandowski.
Yeah, that's insane, man. I mean, and then in 2015, he scored 5 goals in less than 9 minutes against Wolfsburg, setting a world record for the Bundesliga, as well as any major European football league. I remember that game. It was insane.
I remember because I started watching it, and I watched him score 2 goals. And I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and he had 5. Like, what? What happened?
Yeah.
I missed 3 goals.
5 goals in 9 minutes, dude. Insane. And he's been the Bundesliga top goal scorer in 7 seasons. In 2020 and 2021 season, he scored 41 goals, breaking the record held by Gerd Muller.
I remember that game because he had a very pleasant tribute to Gerd Muller.
Yeah, and then in the 1920 season, he scored in the opening 11 matches, breaking the record of 8. So in the first 11 games, he scored a goal in every game. I mean, he holds the record for scoring 4 goals in under 15 minutes against Red Star Belgrade in the Champions League. So it's the fastest in the Champions League. And he's also only one of 2 players to score 4 goals in multiple matches in the Champions League. The guy's a goal machine.
I'm going to guess the other player is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Probably. I didn't look that up.
Yeah.
He has a Ballon d'Or.
Well, I will say about your argument there that if I was a neutral listening to our arguments, I would probably rank Robert Lewandowski as number 1 based on your argument there. Because that was fantastic.
I mean,
that was fantastic.
He scored so many goals.
I'm not talking about Robert Lewandowski. I'm talking about your argument. That was awesome. So I'm going to not even attempt to trump that, but I'm going to go with a guy who most people would think also got robbed or at least I would.
No, I don't think he did. Came in
Gigi
second.
Buffon.
That's good enough.
Gigi Buffon. I don't think Cannavaro should have been in the top 3. That's my opinion.
Again, Henri should have won that one.
Gigi should have won it.
No.
And if not Gigi, it should have been Henri. Anyways, Gianluigi Buffon. Behind Oliver Kahn or in front of him, either one. I mean, those two, in my opinion, are the 2 greatest goalies of all time. But he was the World Cup winning goalie in 2006. He got trumped by Fabio Cannavaro, who, in my opinion, came out of nowhere to win the Ballon d'Or.
He shouldn't have won that.
No.
That one still irks me.
Yeah. Between TT and Gigi, I don't care which one of them would have won it, but we'll both agree that Fabio Cannavaro should have been nowhere near that Ballon d'Or.
He had a good season, don't get me wrong. Again, it's because Italy won the World Cup that year.
It wasn't the best season in the world for that year.
It's because Italy won the World Cup, man.
He also played for Juventus. Juventus won the Serie A.
But he gets dinged because he's a goalie.
I hate that. It's stupid. I think goalies should get more credit.
I would say it's definitely the most difficult position on the field.
100%. And Gigi has been doing it for almost 30 years now. Still going strong for Parma.
He is. He's still playing.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite goalies of all time to watch. His flowing hair. He looks like your stereotypical Italian. I would totally follow him anywhere to drink wine. I don't even care if I can understand what he's saying. What is he, 44? 45?
45.
Yeah. And he's old as shit. But he's still a fantastic goalie.
Playing for Parma.
But I understand why goalies don't get the credit they deserve, because it is a position where you have longevity. Most goalies don't hit their prime until mid-30s, whereas outfield players are mostly retired by mid-30s. So, Gigi for me, I love Gianluigi Buffon.
He's a fantastic goalie, yeah.
He's such a good goalie. I feel like, and I hate to say this, I feel like he's underrated.
He's not underrated.
By a lot of people.
No. Everyone knows he's one of the greatest goalies.
He is. But he also should have won a Ballon d'Or. Maybe not in 2006, but he's won multiple doubles. He has, I believe he's won a couple of trebles.
I think the only thing he doesn't have, I don't think he has a Champions League.
No, he doesn't. He's been in a couple finals.
Yeah, he's lost in some finals.
But he has a World Cup.
He does have a World Cup.
So he has a World Cup. Oliver Kahn doesn't have a World Cup.
Oliver Kahn's also never won either, so there you go.
Oliver Kahn has also won a Champions League. So hence why they're both on my list, asshole. Anyways. Yeah. And on that note, that's all I got.
Yeah, that brings us to the end of this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know which players you think we should be putting on our list or should be given some honorable mentions. Let us know in our Facebook group. You can also check us out on our TikTok, Instagram at Brews and Banter. Again, we post content on all these socials. Sometimes they don't switch over, so you gotta subscribe to all of them, guys. Check out the YouTube, subscribe, like, follow us on Spotify, give us 5 stars. We appreciate that. And of course, check out our Redbubble, our merch, because we want to keep doing this and we appreciate it. So that's all I got.
All right.
So everyone, have a good one. Cheers.
Till next time. Cheers.